first happened, when we first heard it was coming to inland waters, I was at home, and early one morning a friend of mine called. We knew it was coming. We kept thinking, the fishermen, we know the tide, we know how it works, and we thought if a batch of this oil breaks off and comes west around the mouth of the Mississippi River, that the tide is just going to take it straight up into Barataria Bay where we live and work. And sure enough, it happened. So that morning, a friend of mine was out fishing. He called me and said, you got to come out here. You're not going to just come out here. You're not going to believe this. And so I wasn't prepared for what I was going to see. So I grabbed my grandson. I said, come on, Scotty. I got in a high-speed boat, and I took off running south. I took her with me and another friend of ours. And about halfway out, we had been smelling oil for about a month. You can smell it every night from the spill. It was overwhelming. But on the ride out that day, it was enough to knock you out. It was so overpowering, the smell of this oil. So as we continued south into Barataria Bay, which is my fishing ground, you know, being a fisherman, a commercial fisherman, we have our favorite spots to work and all, and Barataria Bay is where I make a lot of my money, and that's mostly where I work, is Barataria Bay. That's my spot. So we're headed out to Barataria Bay, and as soon as I got in Barataria Bay, I hit oil. And I was like, well, this can't last too long. So I ran about 10 miles. I'm still in oil. I'm running. That entire day, I could not get out of oil. I mean, and this is a massive expanse of water. No matter where I rode to Four Bayou Pass, one of my favorite shrimping areas, oil. I went to Queen Bess Island, another spot, oil. I went to the east side of the bay, oil. It was, you just can't imagine it unless you had lived it, the immensity of this oil spill. And friends of mine that had already been working on the spill in the Gulf, shrimpers that they had hired, BP had hired them to work, I saw them skimming oil with booms. And I ran up to them and I was like, man, where's the end of this oil? They said it doesn't end. It goes on for hundreds of miles in the Gulf of Mexico, and it just started coming in here. Well, I was floored. I mean, I don't know if any of y'all want to live through that with your coast, but that's what we had to live through. Now, I consider myself a pretty tough guy, and, you know, I'm a gung-ho fisherman. I wept. I mean, I did. I cried. I had my grandson. I didn't want him to see me crying. The only other time I had cried before that was 30 years ago when my father passed. So that's the impact that has on you. So, I mean, I'm up here to talk to you people about the possibility of what oil and gas can do. Well, that's a possibility, and it's real. And until it happens to you, you don't know the impact of it. Now, I might have been able to run 50 miles further west or 60 miles west and got out of the oil. But it was impacting me directly, and it was impacting an immense area that I make my living in. So, you know, I mean, that's the risk you run with having oil and gas coming to town.
Our home, like I said, is 40 miles inland. But we're on the water. We're surrounded by the water. It's 150 miles from the well that blew out. That, and I know it's hard to see, but that is dispersed oil. What they did with the dispersant, it breaks some of it. It breaks some of it up into tiny little dots of oil that is mixed with dispersant and then surrounded by dispersant, and absorbent pads cannot absorb it anymore. It rolls right off of. That's an oil absorbent pad that we saw it in the water behind our home and dipped it out of there and tried to put it on an absorbent pad to look at it, and it rolled right off of it. That oil came into our house and to the waters behind our home June 6th. June 6th. It rolled into our community. The air was full of oil. There was an oil slick on the water behind our home for months. Not just for a few days, but for months. It was in the air. When it rained, it would leave a black film all over everything in our vents, our air-conditioned vents in our house. Everybody on the Gulf Coast was breathing oil mixed with dispersant. And people are sick. Everybody is getting sick from it. That's just another form of it. The dispersant it's not completely dispersed, so there's these globs of oil on top and through the whole water column. That's on the beach. When it first started coming in, it would look like little red pebbles. But when you picked it up, what it was dispersant, oil, and sand mixed together. And then when it hit the beach and washed up on top of the beach, it would melt into these red, rust-colored gobs that would just then work its way down into the sand. And so all of the beaches, and that's under the water. That's what our water bottoms look like. They sunk this stuff to the bottom so people couldn't see it anymore. But it's there. And all of the bottom feeding animals and the things that live in the bottom, how is that supposed to live with that being left behind? They want to leave it behind. They don't want to clean it up. They use the dispersant for one reason and one reason only, and that was to sink it to the bottom so they didn't have to clean it up and people wouldn't see it anymore. So they would think it's gone. But that oil is still coming in. That picture is a picture, this was in October, this picture was taken, where the oil was still all in the water, and it's hard to see there, but the oil is still all in the water, and it's still hitting our marsh, and it is still doing it today. It is still coming in every single day and settling on the bottoms of our estuary. While our government and the oil companies continue to tell us it's all gone. It's not gone. The oil is still there.
They still, in Louisiana, they still probably have 5,000 people that clean up oil every day. So if it's gone, why are they there? In coastal Alabama, 6,000 people pick up oil every single day on the beaches in Alabama. And every day it comes in, every morning they're out there cleaning it. And so whatever you heard in the media that it's gone, it's not gone. I can promise you, I live it every day. It's still there, and I don't know how long it'll be there. It was too much oil to just go away.
These are most of our grandchildren. The babies are 2 now, so. Everything that we do in our lifestyle is not a Monday through Friday 9-to-5 lifestyle. It's a small community. Everybody knows everybody else. Our lives are still connected to the cycles of the earth, to the seasons, the fishing seasons, to the tides, to the moon. Everything that we do revolves around that. Because that's how we make our living. We still eat what we catch. And so we're all still connected. That's the life that we live. And it's a different lifestyle, and it's probably difficult for people who don't live that to really understand it. But these children are all connected in the same way to each other, to their family, to their community, and to the land still. This is one of our grandchildren, Scotty Boy. He doesn't care what he does, whether it's recreational fishing, commercial fishing, whatever it is, as long as he doesn't have to leave the bayou. He cries if we have to go into town for something, because he looks for one of his relatives to keep him so he doesn't have to go. This has been really, he hunts, and he knows that he can't kill anything that he's not going to eat. So they have to learn, the kids learn how to hunt, they learn how to clean the meat and how to cook the meat, because that's just part of the way we live. That's what we eat. venison, ducks, whatever is in our environment down there. So this dispersant and oil, it affects everything about us. These kids also work. It's a family business, and they go and look forward to shrimp season. Our schools get out in our communities for the year in May, right around when our shrimp season will start, because these kids expect to be able to make the opening. And so they earn money, and this has been just a horrible, horrible time for them. They're confused. They saw boats go out this summer to work on oil cleanup and couldn't understand why they couldn't go with their fathers to work. They couldn't swim in the bayou. They couldn't fish. They couldn't do anything that they normally do. The entire community is so stressed by this disruption in our life, the contamination. He told me he was going to go to Alaska and go fish until our fisheries came back, because he didn't know what else to do. And it's not just him, it's all of the children are facing the same thing. There are a lot of problems going on within the community, within relationships, because of the stress of that. And it's if these oil companies use a playbook, the same playbook over and over and over again. They pit brother against brother, people in the community against each other by hiring some boats and not hiring others. Pays large claims to some fishermen and nothing at all to others. It's just a big, big problem that I guess we're going to have a long time going. So if there's anything you can do, now, don't allow your elected officials to say, we need the jobs from the oil and gas. You need to tell them, no, we don't want to trade off our environment, our quality of life, and our health for those kind of jobs. Find something else. Put faith in small businesses and entrepreneurs in your community. Support that. Bring in jobs that are going to improve your life, not take things from you.